I can't tell you how unpleasant I found that video. It was meant to desensitise men to violence, but on me it had the opposite effect. So if the answer didn't lie in sick and disgusting experiments, then how were the military ever going to get their boys to kill?
Well, for one branch of the military, the lesson from World War II was clear. They knew that when it came to killing, it was better if you didn't see your enemy at all. While the boys on the front line were having such a hard time pulling the trigger, up above, the Air Force was having far fewer problems. In the skies over Germany and Japan, they'd proved time and again just how easy it can be to kill millions of men, women and children without batting an eye.
When it comes to killing, out of sight really is out of mind. What the Air Force had demonstrated was a simple psychological truth. The closer you are to your enemy, the harder he is to kill.
And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fire.
Professor Dave Grossman is the world's leading expert on the psychology of killing. And according to him, the evolution of weapon design is all about one thing: distance.
We're forcing ourselves to do something that, to a certain degree, you can argue, does not come naturally. And to go for the eyes, to go for the throat, these things are extremely hard to do and extraordinarily rare. And so we develop tools to make it easier. Number one, we get just your rock, right? Your basic rock, huh? And not only does the rock give me mechanical leverage, but now I don't have to do the personal impact. And I've created the first real little diffusion of reality. Hey, the rock did it, not me, yeah? Dirty, nasty rock. The sin goes into the rock, you know? And I smack you with the rock, and of course we go a little further, we get some leverage and a little more distance, we get the old jawbone of the ass. You see any Philistines around, let me know, you know? And then, you know, we come further to the sword. And the sword is all about hacking.
From the rock to the rifle, the whole history of war has been the history of getting ever further away from the evidence of your actions. And the truth is that throughout history, the vast majority of people killed in battle have been killed from a distance, by arrows, cannon, machine guns and artillery.
But with the birth of air power, distance killing had really come of age. And while the infantry were still wringing their hands over the failure of their troops to fire, the politicians and planners now felt they knew where the future of killing lay.
As the 50s and 60s rolled on, this faith in air power was unstoppable, and a whole new doctrine of how war should be fought began to emerge. To most people, the image of Vietnam is men fighting in the jungle, but in reality, most of the firepower was delivered by B-52 from far, far further away. Two of the most decorated B-52 pilots from the war in Vietnam are Bill Stocker and Russ McCarthy, and I wanted to learn from them what it takes to kill from the air.
Okay. So, fellas, what does it feel like to be back in the cockpit of one of these things?
Well, it's been a long time ago. A lot of memories associated with this.
Are they good memories or?
Good memories, coming home. Some scary memories. A little bit of fear here and there.
It was standard routine. You'd go it, sometimes you'd refuel, sometimes you wouldn't. And you'd go down the bomb run, and because you trained for this so much, it was like a piece of cake.
We release, get the bomb doors closed, we peel off, we start immediate climb to 41,000 feet. We'd sit back, start having lunch, and drive for 5.5 hours back home. We put music on the uniform. We have music all the way back to Guam.
What do you think the difference was between you and, say, an infantryman in terms of dealing with what you did?
Well, the infantryman is face-to-face with the adversary. If you don't get him, he will get you. And standing up and taking that person's life with a gun or bayonet, I can't hardly conceive a bayonet death. It has got to be 50, 100 times more mentally stressful on those people. In flying these missions, you go after the target. You knock the target out. The target is a set of coordinates. It's a building with so many things, and we don't put the human face on that.
Listening to Bill and Russ talk, it became clear why killing from the air is such an appealing alternative. Unfortunately, on their own, bombs and missiles are never going to win a war.
If you think you're going to change somebody's mind with a cruise missile from 500 miles away, with B-52s from 20,000 feet, you're fooling yourself. Now, that cruise missile, that B-52 is very powerful. But a human being has to walk on the ground, look them in the eyes, and hold them accountable for their behavior before behavior will change.
But looking your enemy in the eye and still being able to shoot was what had caused the infantry so much trouble in World War II. What the military needed was a new form of training, a technique to get soldiers to fire automatically.
The ultimate achievement is to be able to see a suspect, boom, draw and shoot, without conscious thought.
Luckily for the US Army, one group of experts thought that they had the answer. Hot Springs is a fading resort town in unfashionable Arkansas. Best known as the birthplace of President Clinton, Hot Springs also houses a vital clue in the history of modern military training.
This is something right here that we did a few years back, years ago, because they was doing stuff here in Hot Springs that was for the government. And some of the stuff that they were doing, we weren't allowed to talk about a lot of this stuff. But he's got that little lever he's got to pull. But you can see how easy it would be to get him to go down there and trigger off a bomb.
IQ Zoo is now a tourist attraction run by animal trainer Jim Clowers. But its origins can be traced back to the theories of one man, the famous Harvard psychologist B.F. Skinner. In 1938, as war loomed over Europe, Skinner published his groundbreaking work, The Behaviour of Organisms. In it, Skinner claimed that all behaviour could be understood using his system of operant conditioning.
How does operant conditioning actually work then?
Well, the animal is trained to a sound. And once he hears the sound, and he knows it means he's going to get a treat.
So it's like Pavlov's dog.
Right, the same thing.
So you click when he does something good.
And he does what you want him to. And you can talk to him by clicking that clicker and giving him the treat.
So you've taught him to teach basketball, but you could have taught him to pick out a series of numbers.
Right, the very same thing.
Working with pigeons, Skinner showed how a simple prompt, like a light or noise, followed by a reward, created what he called a conditioned reflex. Eventually, the reaction becomes so ingrained that you can withdraw the reward and the reaction will happen automatically, because it's now programmed in the brain. But Skinner wasn't interested in getting raccoons to play basketball. He wanted to show that operant conditioning could be used on men in battle. The military were intrigued. Operant conditioning clearly worked on animals, but could it really work with humans? Skinner assured them it could.
At the end of World War II, B.F. Skinner and Skinnerian conditioning was really state-of-the-art stuff. And when it came to psychological dynamics, he was one of the great all-time masters. I was a psychology professor at West Point. Skinner came out to West Point about a decade prior to my tenure, and he actually stated that military marksmanship training as it exists today is a almost perfect example of Skinnerian training.
The stimulus of the target, the action of firing, and the reward of pay, praise and promotion are the three principles on which all target practice hinges. But if you're going to instill an automatic reflex that actually works in battle, then the training has got to feel real.
And the truth is, in World War II, we had excellent weapons, magnificent soldiers, and we had crummy combat training. Because most of the time, the boys learned to shoot at bullseye targets. We have no known instances of any bullseyes ever attacking any of our boys. Right. So how are we going to overcome this? Well, what we've got to do is we have to make killing simulators. We have to simulate the act of killing.
Hitting the old bullseye target was about as psychologically challenging as playing darts down the pub.
All right, now we'll move on down to our friend here.
Right.
But the modern stuff is a little more tricky.